This story is immediately after God had destroyed the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. We've seen the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, and you've read this story. You've seen the way God destroyed this city. It got to a point that God was talking with this man by the name Abraham. Tumepiga stories za Abraham mara kadhaa, and tutakuwa tukiguzia tu every story unaweza kuta tu like the way we've been doing the stories in the New Testament, and kuna mmoja tunaguzia story ya Paul sana. And God was talking to Abraham. God anaambia Abraham venye the city of Gomorrah and Sodom imeharibika, and anamwambia venye ataidestroy. But Abraham anauliza God, what if hata ukipata watu wenye wako 10 kwa hiyo city wenye wako righteous bado utaidestroy? But God anamwambia hapana, sitaidestroy. Na ukipata mmoja, God anamwambia but kitu fani ni kuwa ni hata hao watu 10 hawakupatikana. So the city of Gomorrah was full of immorality. The city of Sodom and Gomorrah was full of immorality to an extent that God was not happy about it. We've talked about the story of Nineveh. Jonah ametumwa kwenda Nineveh kwenda kupreach. So apparently, when Lot was in this city, he used to preach the message of God. But kuna venye hawa wase hawaku change. Even after listening to Lot, hawakusikia. They never heed. They never changed. So their lives depended on, let me say, immorality. The cities were full of sin to an extent that God destroyed this city. But let's begin it this way. So Lot was a nephew to this guy by the name Abraham. And tumepiga story ya Abraham venye alikuja na Lot, halafu kisha baadaye waka separate. But now Lot akiwa in this city, he used to preach the message of God. And that is where we are starting this thing. Like after God had destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot fled to a place called Zoar. But before they went there are these angels that were sent to go and warn Lot. And these angels, these two men angels, were telling Lot that you need to flee to the mountains of Zoar. But the reason why Lot end up kukua in Zoar ni kwa sababu ni kama hakutaka kwenda kwa mlima kwanza. Hakutaka kwenda kujificha kwa mlima, but aliona the best place that he can be is in the city of Zoar. And so he asked them, let me just head on to Zoar rather than to the mountains. And then they agreed. And after Lot amefika huko, at some point ilifika mahali hakuendelea kukaa huko, and alihofia pia. And then he had to flee again to the mountains where he was instructed to go. And wakiwa kwa mlima, something happened. At first, their daughters were pledged to get married to some men who refused to listen to Lot, that the city of Sodom and Gomorrah was going to be destroyed, na walikataa kutoka kuhepa nao. Remember, after these angels warned Lot that we are going to destroy the city, akauliza kina Lot kuwa, if you have any relative, anyone that you know, warn them that this city is going to be destroyed, so you need to flee. So Lot took a step, went ahead and pleaded with the men that were supposed to get married, to marry his daughters, but hawakutaka kusikia your story. And the Bible tells us that Lot decided to just go with his wife and the daughters. And when these cities were destroyed, these two men walikuwa destroyed, because the Bible tells us that God rained down a burning sulfur. You can just imagine the way sulfur is. So ikiwa hivyo inakaa uji memwagiwa kwa hizo cities na ikachoma kila mtu, kila kitu, hadi plants, hakuna kitu ili survive. And where I want us to focus is this point yenye Lot amebaki na wasichana wake wawili. So remember, wife wa Lot alidisobey a direct command, ama alidisobey orders from above that you should not look back. And after yeye kuangalia nyuma, akabadilika akakuwa mawe ya chumvi. So after Lot flee to the mountains, alikuwa peke yake na watoi, his two daughters, the elder one and the younger one. And something happened. The elder daughter saw that later on, aliambia ule mdogo, the elder daughter saw that ni kama tutabaki tukiwa hivi tu, hatutaolewa, because aliona kama God destroy everybody. But she didn't know. Maybe she didn't know. I don't know. Was she ignorant, or this is something that she was just planning? But one thing is that mrembo aliona ni kama tutabaki tukiwa hivi manze, familia yetu itakatika. Madhe ameondoka, madhe saa hii ni mawe ya chumvi. Alafu sisi peke yetu na dad tumebaki peke yetu na baba yetu, ni nani atatuoa? So madam akachora kwa akili yake Kenya atafanya was to lure his father to sleep with her. And so what she did, akabugia baba yake pombe, akalewa baba yake, akalewa. Lot alilewa vibaya sana, to an extent that hakukuwa anajielewa hata akilala. Hata akiamuka ajielewi nilikuwa nimelewa ama kuliendaje, kwani jana kuliendaje. Kwa mind yake hiyo haikukua. So the Bible tells us that this daughter made him drunk to an extent that this guy could not even comprehend himself. Hangejielewa hata. And on that night, slept with her father, had sex with the father, and she became pregnant. And another thing, haikutoshea hapo. Alienda akaambia sister yake, unajua ni aje? Mimi yenyewe jana niliona ni kama tutaenda tuko tu hivi, familia yetu itaishia tu hapa. Tutazeeka, tutadedi, mzae atadedi, na familia our lineage haitaendelea. Our descendants, si tutakwamia tu hapa, familia Lot itaishia tu hapa. And akamwambia, tunaweza fanya venye nilimfanyia jana, alafu pia wewe upate ball, ndio familia yetu iendelee kugrow. And that is what happened. Kabugia babao tena na pombe, mzae akakunywa pombe tena, akalewa to an extent hakuwa anajisikia. And the same thing that happened the other night is what happened on the second day, that the younger daughter slept and had sex with the father. That was bad. I don't know. We are not told in the Bible whether these two daughters were later on punished, because what they committed incest. And it was not good in the eyes of the Lord. So one thing, these daughters grew in the midst of immoral city. They grew, probably Lot never took time and educate his daughters on the word of God. He never took time to educate his wife. Because if Lot's wife had the word of God in her, angeangalia nyuma. I don't know. These are just my commentaries. If these two daughters had the word of God in them, they could not have committed incest with their father. They could not have done the thing that they did with their father. So one thing is that we need to make sure that our children are well fed with the word of God. We need to make sure that those that surround us, those that we raise, those that we give birth to, understand the scriptures, understand what is wrong and what is right. If these two girls knew the word of God, if these two girls, probably kazi ya Lot ilikuwa ni kutoka kwenda nje, kupeleka injili na kurudi. Na maybe hakukuwa serious per se, sitaki kusema hakukuwa serious because pia hakuna hata mmoja kwa ile city mwenye alipatikana akiwa righteous apart from he himself, yeye peke yake. And so the Bible tells us that these two girls walipata watoi. Ule mkubwa alipata watoi, mtoi mmoja kijana na akamuita Moab, who is the father of the today's Moabites. The second one also gave birth to a son na akamname Ben-Ami. Ben-Ami, who is the father of the today's Ammonites. Is it Ammonites or the Moabites? Let me read. The book of Genesis chapter 19. Genesis, the first book in the Bible. Genesis chapter 19, ukisoma from verse 30. Yes, from verse 30. But hatutasoma from verse 30. Tutaruka mpaka la chini kwenye inasema, and the younger she also bore a son and called his name Ben-Ami. Yeah, that is the correct name. Ben-Ami, who is the father of the people of Ammon to this day, the Ammonites. I want you to take that picture. Take that picture. Look at yourself. If you are a mother, or rather if you are a father, are your children growing knowing the word of God? Are the ones that you feed in that house growing knowing the word of God? Does your wife, does your husband know the word of God? What are you doing to see to it that they grow in the word of God? Do you at some point tell them about this God? Even if they know, we don't need to assume that they know ati hawa ni watu wenye wanafaa kujua ati Bible inasomwa. No. Let's teach our children to know the word of God so that they will not fall into mistakes that they could have gotten out of it. The mistakes that they could have escaped. you find them falling into it. But sometimes they do. But prevention is better than cure. Let us teach our children. Make sure that your family understands the word of God. Make sure that your family understand prayer. Make sure that your family know the word of God. That has been just but a small story of Lot and his daughters. And for you to understand better, head on to the book of Genesis chapter 19. Read the whole chapter. Understand how God came to destroy this city, Sodom and Gomorrah. Understand how Lot and how the daughters of Lot forced him into having sex with them. How their mother turned into a stone of sorts. My name is Emmanuel, and this is Touching Lives Kenya. And if you are new to this channel, I kindly request, please subscribe to our channel, and the Lord is going to bless you so much. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always being here. Until the next time, I love you so much. Naupenda sana, and I'm praying for you each and every single day. Asante sana. Mommy? Yeah. I'm done.